Margaret, thank you very much. And my dear fellow Toastmasters, it's indeed time for table topics in an educational form. And to kick off this educational, I would like to begin with one overarching advice. When it comes to table topics, don't wait for that flash of genius to suddenly hit you out of the blue. And don't think either it comes or it doesn't come. My strong belief is that you have far more control over impromptu speaking than you may think. I believe table topics is plannable. But how so? What follows are six of tips that work for me. And I hope at least one of those tips that I value work for you as well. So going straight into tip number one, and tip number one goes as follows: get your mindset right. And I believe this first tip is already the hardest because it involves self-reflection. Woohoo, self-reflection. Do we want to do that? I believe in table topics, you have to self-reflect upon your mindset. And as an instance, as an example, I would like to give you my mindset when it comes to table topics. It is a respectful, passionate, I don't give a damn attitude. And it goes like this: I don't give a damn whether I am tired or not. I don't give a damn who will be in the audience. I don't give a damn what they will think about me. And I don't give a damn whether or not I have something knowledgeable to say about the topic at hand, but still, I will entertain myself as well, obviously, as the audience. And I believe with a mindset like this, you will achieve great things in table topics. Why? Because I believe table topics is all about thinking quickly on your feet. And with a mindset like this, a mindset that I just gave you, you can allow yourself to think quickly on your feet because you don't care about the circumstances and about the final outcome. But let's reverse the tables and say you have a different mindset, maybe one of those more negative, self-doubting mindsets or no mindset at all. Then I believe you will be very influenced by self-doubt, by second guessing, overthinking, which is natural, but it's not a good thing to have in a table topic context to give great table topics. So now speaking on a more practical note, how you can achieve that mindset, just like that. I do two things. For one thing, I use symbols. I have them here close to me, handy. Symbols that I can touch, that I can look at, that bring me instantly into the mood because I associate something with the symbols I have here assembled. And when I do a contest, even a club contest, and especially when I go further into the contest cycle, I write small little sentences down, just like a mantra in Hinduism. We use that also in theater, that bring me into the mood as well. Symbols, writing down small sentences, having that mindset I am talking about, and then you will be able, at least I think, to think quickly on your feet. My second tip is don't repeat the table topic or take some time to think in silence. And this tip comes straight from theater. I see it time and time again. Our audience, our theater audience, just listens to our story for as long as we can create tension, Spannung in German, meaning we create a situation where the audience thinks, hey, this is interesting. What comes next? Oh, that second thing is interesting as well. What comes next? And what comes next? I want to know. This kind of tension, this kind of Spannung. And now think about a situation when you see a table topic contestant and table topic speaker who is there slowly, methodically repeating the table topic. It's not a bad thing, not at all, but in terms of tension, you instantly know he or she has drawn a blank and the tension goes taking a nosedive. So even though it's hard, try to not repeat the question. And the same goes, at least in my opinion, for being silent, taking 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. It's the same thing. Try to remember this situation as well. You immediately know that people don't know what to say, especially when they are making faces like, or, or even, you know, they are thinking. And don't think. Don't be silent and don't take time to think. But what to do instead? My tip is trust your instincts and go immediately with the first idea that comes to mind. Typical point of improvisational theater. Trust your instincts, go with the first idea you have in mind, and you see here in the second tip, the mindset idea comes into play as well. It's trust, not self-doubt, overthinking, etc., etc. So this is point number 2. Tip number 3. Enter table topics with a strong opinion. And this is true, at least in my opinion, for table topics that pose a question for you. For instance, is it better to strive for money or for happiness? So what you can do in terms of an answer with a strong opinion is saying, my dear fellow Toastmasters, I believe that if we never have a significant amount of money, we don't even know what happiness really is. Boom. One sentence, tension. You want to know what's coming next because it's such a bold statement. And why is that? Digging a little bit deeper into the subject at hand, I believe this creates tension, this bold statement, because you don't try to be the people pleaser. You don't try to say many maybes in certain situations when that and the other is right then and only then. No, you don't waste any time, any energy, any words. You boldly claim X and you get tension, interest. People are, aha, this person has something interesting to say. Nice, I want to hear that. And this strong opinion also works, again, at least in my opinion, in the middle of a table topic. For instance, when you are, let's say, 30 seconds in, and you think to yourself, man, this was a rough start. I don't know where to go with this. Always remember you can utter a strong opinion. For instance, and my fellow Toastmasters, this brings me to my main point. I believe this generation is soft, at least in comparison to our grandfathers and grandmothers. Boom, strong opinion, you gather interest, you gather tension. And tension is what you need because this is interesting. But remember, and this is the last point for this third tip that I have for you, once you have uttered your strong opinion to kick things off or for the middle of your speech, of your table topic, go from the abstract into the personal. Because people don't want to think about abstracts. That's boring with time. And what does it mean to go soft in relation to our forefathers and foremothers, so to speak? For instance, my fellow Toastmasters, I realized that I have this opinion once I was yada yada. And then you have a situation. So in table topics, as well as with good storytelling, always remember, talk about people and their actions and their consequences. Make it concrete, make it personal. Don't stay with the abstract. This is tip number 3. Tip number 4, which is related to that, don't make table topics a logical argument. And for that, let's go back to the question that I raised previously, the fictional table topic question. Is it better to strive for money or for happiness? Please do yourself a favor and don't answer like, well, I can see value in both of these answers. Let's analyze both options now in detail. No, please don't. Please don't analyze a thing. Please don't go with rational arguments. This is not a philosophy club. I believe that you cannot reason yourself to table topic success. You have 2 minutes, right? It's nothing. What you can do is create tension with a strong opinion and attach to that a personal story. This will rattle the bones of at least some people, and this will stay in the mind, not a logical argument. So this is tip number 4. Please don't do the logical argument. Tip number 5, which is the second to last. Tip number 5, create an ongoing mystery. And this idea, this tip is for table topics that ask you to elaborate on a statement. I will give you an example. For instance, the table topic could be, please describe the day you met one of your loved ones for the very first time. So what you please shouldn't do, at least in my opinion, it's all subjective, but what you shouldn't do, in my opinion, is saying something like, well, the day I met the perfect woman for me was the most beautiful day in my life. Think about it. What have you said there in case you were the person who would have said that? You would have said that, okay, you met a woman that works for you. Great, more power to you. And you said the day was the most beautiful day you have ever witnessed. Awesome. We already know everything we need to know. There is no mystery left. So I lose interest, and I suppose many of you would lose interest too, because there is nothing more to it. Of course, there are details. Who is the woman and why was the day beautiful? But do we care about details when we already know the ending? I don't think so. So do it another way. Create a mystery. You could answer that table topic, for instance, like this. The marketplace in Würzburg was pregnant with the aroma of lavender. You could say, oh, what an interesting way to start a table topic. Why did he do that? Let's listen. And then you could continue and say, I took a deep breath, and suddenly I felt a nervous trembling in my chest. Aha, my man is nervous. Why is he nervous? So let's continue. Let's listen. Too late to calm down, because there in the distance I can already see her approaching me. My date. Aha, a boy meets girl story and the man is nervous. I want to see how this will turn out. This gotta be good. And following from that sentence, when she approached, I did the most stupid thing in my life by saying, hey, good that you came. I just decided to go home again. The boy, he messed up. Can he save the day and get the girl? You see what I'm doing there? Every sentence creates a new missing puzzle piece. And these missing puzzle pieces add up to an ever growing problem. And this mystery that is growing, not only is there, but growing, creates tension because we want to know how the story ends. The story is only then finished when it's over. Then we have all the puzzle pieces. Before that, there is still something missing, something missing, something missing. So this is tip number 5. And finally, maybe my most favorite tip is vocal variety adds tension. And for that, I have to say and rhetorically ask, do you know what I like to watch on YouTube? It's real footage of police interrogations. True story. Why? Because I love to see how people lie. For instance, officer, I have to tell you, I just came home early from work, and there she was, my wife, laying there on the floor, just laying there, dead on the floor. And officer, I can tell you, tears were rolling down my cheek, I swear. An example like this, I find it so funny when people talk about emotional content with no emotion in their voice whatsoever. So please do the opposite and put emotion into every sentence that you utter. Remember what I just said in tip number 5. Oh, the marketplace in Würzburg. It was pregnant with the aroma of lavender. And I took a deep breath and whoa, there is a nervous trembling in my chest. You see, every sentence is emphasized with some sort of emotions. And the best way to do it, at least in my opinion, is don't try to think of a clever way to show emotions, but try to relive the emotion. Try to relive what you have experienced, and then the emotion reflected in your voice and also in your gestures, it flows naturally. You cannot fake emotions. You cannot stage emotions. You have to relive it. This is my firm belief and my experience on stage for many years. So this is tip number 6, vocal variety adds tension. And that is my list. Is it complete? Of course it isn't, but I believe in this 20 minutes or 22, I see the red card already, is a good start for every one of you. Just a quick reminder of the 6 tips, just a quick rundown. Tip number 1 was get your mindset right. Tip number 2, don't repeat the table topic or take time to think about it in silence. Tip number 3, enter table topics with a strong opinion. Tip number 4, please don't make table topics a logical argument. Tip number 5, create an ongoing mystery. And last but definitely not the least, tip number 6, vocal variety adds tension. And you know what's best? After the break that we will have in a couple of minutes, it's real table topics time. So I propose let's try out at least some of the tips I just mentioned. And with that being said, back to you, Margaret, as our Toastmaster of the evening.
I have to make myself